Hello everyone, a warm welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. In today's video, we'll be covering the important news from the last week and this week for prelims. That means keeping the prelims in the view especially. We'll also be dealing with few PYQ as well as the mind maps. We'll see how to make mind maps out of all this news. So the front page is for the thumbnail, so let's leave it here. Let's just start from here. See the same thing, what we are going to cover. So first thing that we are going to cover is artificial general intelligence. We'll see what is it and how is it different from the artificial intelligence of the current era or the present. We'll see what is goldine, a sheet of gold that is just one atom thick. And we'll see what is the significance of this goldine and how it matches in properties, the structural properties at least, with graphene. We'll see how orangutan treats wound with pain relieving plant and the similar PYQ that appeared in 2023, last year only. Alright, we'll see what is Catatumbo lightning. We'll see what originates this phenomena. Second thing, we'll see the relevant mapping. Alright, of the lake and all. Then we'll see the kalakkadal and the soil waves. So these type of terms have been asked in the prelims especially. In prelims 2023, I guess, there was a question about the salt marsh. And in that also a term was asked from the southern India of the salt pans. Alright, so this is a similar term. We should read about this. Furthermore, we'll see in Kerala, the same state, important invasive species of the Kerala. So these can be asked again in the prelims. Do not think that prelims will always keep asking the species from Himalayas or the northern India. It can also ask things from the South India. Alright, missile assisted torpedo release system or the SMART system. So developed by the DRDO. So we'll be talking about this. Then the Nikitin Sea Mount. What India has to do with this. Alright, furthermore, we'll see Odisha's Gopalpur port. So port question again came in prelims. Alright, it came in 23 prelims about the private port and all. So the news is very related to that. We must see this. And finally, we'll delve to the gray zone warfare. We'll see what is this gray zone warfare. Okay, let's start the lecture with the first thing, that is the artificial general intelligence. Alright, so you must all be knowing this person. He is Sam Altman. Let me just change the pen color just a second. Okay, let's try white on this. So he is Sam Altman. So he is the CEO of the OpenAI, which released the Chat GPT. So he recently said that the ChatGPT is the dumbest AI of everything, and now they are developing the AGI, that is the artificial general intelligence. All right. So what is this artificial general intelligence? So it refers to either a machine. Okay, statements can come like this sometimes. Okay, all right. That AGI can be a machine or not. All right, so this is true or false. How many statements are correct? So if it involves the word machine, we may think that, okay, it cannot be machine, it's a software. Then this is not true. All right, this statement is correct. It can be a machine also and a software. So it can either be a machine or a software that can perform any intellectual task, just like a human. Just like a human, which includes what? Reasoning and common sense, let's say. All right, some sort of intuitiveness, just like humans have. So that should be there. All right, abstract thinking, background knowledge, transfer learning, ability to differentiate between the cause and effect. Cause and effect. All right, let's say you can see water here. It is spilled. The glass has fallen and the water is spilled. All right, so this is the effect. And what can be the cause? That somebody just, let's say, kicked it. All right, and it got spilled like this. So that can be the cause. And which can be the most probable cause? Let's say this is first cause, this is second cause. Which can be the most probable cause? So AGI will be able to detect this. So it is more human intelligence than the current AI. So in simple words, AGI aims to emulate human cognitive abilities. Just a second. All right. Human cognitive abilities such that it allows to do it unfamiliar tasks, learn from new experiences. So what is the issue of the AI? AI issue is that you have to feed data to it. All right. And it works on the data that is fed to it. That means you teach it by giving in some input and showing it that when we give this input, this output should be received. Okay, so it trains on this data model that when somebody gives this input, then this output should be received to the AI. So this is a function of AI. Now, when you develop the AGI, then its function will be that regardless of what input, you don't won't have to train it on a data. It will be learning from new experiences as well. All right, so it's just a further advanced model of the AI, we can say. Okay, one more thing, what we see that humans, how do humans learn? All right, of course, let's say we have a brain. So it's also a very, very smart computer, we can say. All right, we also have a brain. So it's very, very smart computer. We also have electronics running inside our brain, electric signals through the CNS, PNS, okay, hypothalamus. You must be knowing there are multiple uh, bodies here, areas here, Broca's area for speech, let's say, in our cortex, amygdala for the fear center. All right, so all of these areas are present in the brain, so they work like a supercomputer, we can say, and the brain uses a lot of energy. All right, it can light a bulb, that much energy it uses. Okay, so what we see here that can this system be replicated in a supercomputer that will have the AGI? So this is what we are thinking, that if we can learn how humans function, then we can also replicate it in the AGI. So human brain then uses information gathered to make decisions, often subconscious, that can solve any given problem and come up a new one or come up with a new one. So what we do not have with AI is this subconsciousness, and we do not actually know ourselves that how this subconsciousness works. Okay, we don't know. So we need to figure this out and replicate it into the AGI. Okay, one more thing. Okay, I'll just type in a new page. Okay, we do not have a new page, so we'll just delete this. All right, but if we share the PDF in the channel, then we need to have some context. Just a second, I'll draw it in here. Okay, so AI versus AGI. AI versus the AGI. So main difference between AGI and more common form of AI is also lowering in the scope and capabilities. Simply, all right. So AI, what does it do? Image recognition, translation, and playing games like chess. But it's limited to set parameters. On the other hand, AGI envisions a broader intellectual form of intelligence. All right. It's more like human. Now, what we can say is some history. All right. So this concept came in the mind of Alan Turing. So Alan Turing designed a hypothetical machine known as the Turing machine, or gave it a Turing test. Okay, and Turing test in the 1950s, it was like simply put, if a machine can engage in a conversation with a human, all right, it can talk to a human and do some functions without being recognized as a machine, then it has displayed a human intelligence. Okay, so it has multiple uses. We can use it in the health sector, we can use it in the meteorological sector, let's say in the decision making sector, market economics, many things we can use it in. So doesn't matter for now, but there are few challenges involved. One is the environmental challenges, that supercomputers which can run AGI on the main server, they will increase the e-waste. All right, so this can be an issue. All right, let's further. The second most issue that we often talk about is that it will overtake humans and all. That is not very important right now. It's just a sci-fi fantasy for now. All right, so a lot of time. So of course, if we develop AGI, we will also develop the fail-safe mechanism and so on. Okay, next let's come to the goldine. What is this goldine? Okay, so it's graphene's newest metallic cousin. When we talk about the graphene, which is an allotrope of carbon, So this is non-metal, carbon is a non-metal, but we are now talking about the aurum. Aurum means gold, Au, 79. Alright, atomic number is 79. So what we see, its common name is gold also. So we are talking about the metal gold now. So gold has different properties, but we have developed a structure which is just a single atom thick. And when we talk about the single atom, it is very, very, very small. All right. So there has to be chemical methods to develop it, not physical methods. You cannot just compress something into a single atom. Sorry, you have to have some chemical formulas for that. All right. So development could someday allow scientists to use less gold in electronics and chemical reactions also, because the surface area increases directly. On a single atom, the surface area is vast compared to the gigantic molecular structure, we can say. Alright, so gold sheet may also have exotic properties like those found in other two-dimensional materials. Two-dimensional materials. So what properties are found in two-dimensional material? More surface area. More surface area means faster reactions. So gold is also used in some anti-cancer drugs and other things. So we can probably use that, let's say. Alright, so it holds the promise of a greater catalyst because of the better surface area. Graphene, here you can see the structure of graphene. It's like this. All right, some sort of like this. So each carbon makes four bond structure, and then we see a linear type of structure. It also works as a frictionless material, very less friction material. All right, so gold can also give us the same things, similar things. Furthermore, what we see that it was created by Hultman. Like the scientist name which created this goldine is Hultman. Okay, it's known as goldine. So how did they do it? They first made a three-dimensional material called titanium gold carbide. Titanium gold carbide. Alright, whose structure contained two-dimensional sheets of gold, and then they etched off the surrounding material with a potassium-based solution, leaving goldine behind. So goldine is what? Simply you have to remember, goldine is what? Question can be asked like this. See that recently goldine has been into news. Then what is this structure? What is it about? Okay, it is a chemical compound or a chemical liquid of this sort with anti-cancer properties. It is a two-dimensional sheet of gold of single atom with width or thickness. Then third statement can be something else. You have to select this one. All right. So that is all about this news. So it's a cousin of the graphene, we can say. Here you can see the goldine, which has 2D aurum atomic sheets. You can see here. Okay, so great surface area in less material. So this is how they made it, titanium gold carbide. So they etched off this material, and only remaining was this. Okay. Now let's further go to the orangutan question and all. So PYQ, let us first see. So what is the PYQ? Which of the following makes a tool with a stick to scrap insects from a hole in a tree or log of wood? So this came in 2023 only. Okay, many people typed this sloth bear. Sloth bear is incorrect option. Correct option is orangutan. Okay, so let's see. Whenever you are talking of intelligence and when you see an ape in the option among the options, always tick the ape. Alright, so researchers have spotted orangutan using sticks to extract seeds from fruits and scrape insect using a stick from the hole in a tree in the wild. Okay, so they are the largest arboreal mammals. Please remember, arboreal means tree dwelling. Those live on the trees, spending most of their lives in trees. Long, powerful arms and grasping hands and feet allow them to move through the branches. Very long arms. Okay, they look like this. All right. And these great apes share 96.4% of our genes and are highly intelligent creatures. Okay, so where they are found, these orangutans, you can see here the picture which proves our statement from the question. Okay, it's a stick here, and he's trying to scrape insect from here, looking not so happy. Okay, so they are found in the Borneo and the Sumatran region, in the Indonesia basically. Near the Indonesia, Borneo and Sumatra. Okay, these are the regions. So there are two species of the orangutans. We need to know two, three things that Borneo and Sumatra and the Indonesia. So what we know that there are two species found, three species found actually, all at Borneo and Sumatran and the Tapanuli, and they are all endangered. Their IUCN status is endangered. So please remember this. endangered. All right. They're closely related to human and they can live 60 years in captivity. And why do we say that 60 years in captivity? We mean to say that in the wild, if they are having some sort of struggle, alpha male struggle or so on for the territory, then only one of them is living longer and one of them is dying. Okay, earlier. So the average age of the whole orangutan, let's say, group will decrease. Okay, because some of them are dying earlier, but in the captivity they can live for 60 years and so on. Okay, with lifespan in the wild likely being shorter because of struggles and multiple fights and so on. And one more thing, that orangutan mothers care for their offspring for up to 8 years. So very long, let's say, period, longest of any other ape or any great ape. One more thing we see that what behavior they have displayed very recently, this self-medication behavior. So this male gorilla, sorry, orangutan, was observed in Gabon. Okay, so he got injured and then he applied the leaves of akar cunning. So it's a plant. The scientific name is Fibra urea tincoteria. So very often found in Indonesia. All right, in their habitat. So this orangutan applied this leaf, like after chewing, he applied these leaves on his face and it was cured over a period. So this behavior is newly found, all right, and it can again be asked in the prelims that which of the following apes have been recently, let's say, seen doing this behavior, we can say. Okay. Okay, next let's come to very important and interesting one, Catatumbo lightning. So what is this Catatumbo lightning? So it's a natural phenomena first of all, okay, that occurs over the Catatumbo river in Venezuela. This can be again asked, very very important, Catatumbo river in the Venezuela. Okay, where lightning strikes almost continuously. Okay, almost continuously. So it primarily happens at the mouth of the Catatumbo river where it meets Lake Maracaibo. Lake Maracaibo, the largest lake in the Venezuela. Okay, now let us see the map. First of all, let's see the South American map. So the largest we see here, Brazil. Okay, Brazil, let's say, how to learn this mapping. Okay, I'll tell you a simple way. So you can make the Brazil like this. Okay, just make it like this. And keep it in the center. Brazil. Okay, now how many countries are touching it? First of all, we see here the Uruguay. We see the Uruguay. All right. Then we see a small portion is touching the Argentina also. Okay. Small portion is touching the Argentina also. So here we see the Argentina. Then next we see the Paraguay. Here. All right. Next we see the Bolivia. Bolivia. All right. And come here we see the Peru. Peru. Next we know Ecuador does not touch the Brazil. All right. And next we know the Chile. It also does not. Okay. So these two out of the group, Peru and Chile. Next we see, sorry, Peru, Ecuador and Chile. Okay, so next we see after the Peru, that is Colombia. Okay, next after the Colombia, we see the Venezuela, the country that we are talking about. It has a small notch type structure here. This is our area of interest. Okay, so the country is Venezuela. Okay, next we see which country are touching Brazil. Three more country. Okay, one is the Guinea or the Guyana. Guyana. Okay, next is the Suriname. And the next is the French Guiana. Okay, so we can extend this Argentina in here like this and then Chile. Okay, so Chile is not touching Brazil and then Ecuador is also not touching Brazil. So these two countries are not touching Brazil. The rest all of the countries we see they are touching the Brazil, whether it is Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, okay, Venezuela, Guyana, then Suriname, then French Guiana, and so on. So Brazil is, we can consider the center of the Southern America. So very simple way to remember this. Okay, next we see the Venezuela. This is our area of interest here. Okay, this is the largest lake in Venezuela, and the river, the Rio Catatumbo River. So here we see the Lago Maracaibo. Okay, this is the largest lake of Venezuela. It can be asked in prelims directly. Okay, let's say the Catatumbo phenomena or Catatumbo lightning is observed in which of the following rivers? So this Maracaibo river, okay, and this is the Catatumbo. Okay, so where it merges, then here we see the lightning. Okay, so let's see further how it occurs. Okay, and these are the map. Here we see the lake Maracaibo. So Maracaibo lake here we see. Okay, and the Catatumbo river here in the Venezuela. Okay, and this above is the Caspian Sea and all. Okay, so one more sea, the Caribbean Sea, sorry, not the Caspian. Apologies for the error. Okay, so we see the Caribbean Sea here. We are just talking about the Mediterranean and Caspian Sea a lot. So just got on the tongue. So Caribbean Sea anyway. All right, so this we recently read about the Jamaica and all Haiti Dominion. We saw the instability here in this country and so on. All right, so let's come to this area of interest, the Maracaibo Lake and the Catatumbo River. Okay, so this is the portion where we see this lightning. So how does it occur? So cumulonimbus clouds are menacing looking clouds, okay, which are formed because of these two things. What? The winds coming from the Caribbean Sea and the Andes mountain range. Which mountain range? Andes mountain range. All right. So here these both things merge and they form this cumulonimbus clouds. Okay, cumulonimbus clouds, and they produce the lightning. So we can see the Andes here, the Andes mountain range here. Okay, this is the end of the Andes here, and we can see the Maracaibo Lake here. Okay, so just zooming in. Okay. Furthermore, let us see one thing, that what happens. So please remember warm and moist air. Which type of air? Warm and moist air from the Caribbean Sea is pushed towards the Andes mountain range. Okay, they are coming towards the Venezuela as well. All right, where it collides with the cooler air descending from the peaks. So these peaks are very high and they are snowy peaks. Okay, so warm air and the snowy cool air, let's say it mixes and it creates a perfect storm as the warmer air is forced to rise rapidly by the shape of local landscape. So warm air rises rapidly. Warm air rises rapidly. All right, it cools and condenses, forming cumulonimbus clouds. Okay, because as it is going up, it is facing low temperature. So this warm air which comes from the seaside, okay, it's meeting this air, cold air, and it's rising, forming the clouds. And these are the kind of clouds, sorry. So cumulonimbus clouds are the type of clouds which can produce lightning. Okay, so what we see, they are reaching at the height of 5 kilometer at least, and when the electric potential within the cloud become too great, it discharge in the form of lightning. So what we can see that at least 160 nights a year, this lightning can be observed at the right where this river meets this lake, Maracaibo Lake. Okay, and this has earned the title of the lightning capital of the world. One more thing we can talk about this lake Maracaibo. It is located in Venezuela and the largest lake in Latin America. That means the Southern Americas. It is also among the oldest water bodies on the planet. Okay, its proximity to the Andes Mountain and the Caribbean Sea creates a unique geographical setup that plays a crucial role in frequency of lightning in the region. Okay, next we come to the Kalakkadal. So what is this Kalakkadal? So recently what has happened that Indian National Center for Ocean Information Service on forecast that high sea waves, also known as the swell waves, these are the swell waves. So they may hit the coastal areas of the, let us see here on the map only. So they may hit the coastal areas of the Goa, Maharashtra, okay, West Bengal, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Lakshadweep, Karnataka, Gujarat, and Andaman and Nicobar Island. So whole of this area can be expecting swell waves. So what are these swell waves? All right. So such flooding events are called the Kalakkadal in Kerala. In Kerala, they are known as the Kalakkadal. Okay, so these have been coming since ancient times. So what are these swell waves? So these are formed by the ocean swell. Okay, and hence the name swell surge. So ocean swells occur not due to the local wind, but due to distant storms. What it means that whichever storms are afar, okay, in middle of the sea. So the wind is coming from there, and it is mixing with the waves, and then getting the waves to a higher height. So that is known as the swell waves. So far from origin, the storm area, and larger wavelength and period waves travel faster than smaller waves and travel great distances. That means thousands of kilometers, and they are deep water waves. Okay, let us see one more thing. Uh, this is the next news. So just read about the swell waves a bit. That how are they different from the tsunamis? Okay, so tsunami, what happens that the center of the energy that produce the waves is from inside the land or inside the ocean shelf. All right, so it's coming from inside the water basically. But in this swell waves, what is happening? The storm is up. That means in the air, and then it is sending the energy from the air side. Okay, and tsunamis are around 10 times faster than the swell waves. So tsunamis are very, very, let's say, more disastrous. Okay, next now come to the important invasive species that have been observed in Kerala. So what is being observed that in the Munnar region and so on, these animals are found. Okay, and what is happening that their movement is being restricted because of multiple, let's say, trees, shrubs, and plants that are growing, that are exotic and highly growing in the forests of Munnar in Kerala. So we will be talking about these species. What we also see that because of this restricted movement, they are finding it easier to come to the villages. Okay, so there has been animal-human conflict or human-animal conflict. So if the statement comes that the invasive species in a forest can lead to rise in the human-animal conflict, that it can be true or not, then it is true. All right, so removing exotic species such as the Acacia mearsni. You can see here the black wattle. These are the name of the exotic species in the forest of Mannar. So eucalyptus, it is almost an invasive species everywhere. And then there is West Indian lantana, that is Congeni. All right, so all of these are found in the Kerala. And what researchers are saying that if these areas change to natural grassland, then it will ensure food and water for wild elephants also. All right. Next, let us talk about the missile assisted torpedo release system. Okay, so it has been developed by the DRDO, and please always remember the motto line of these all organizations. So it's Balasimoolam Vijnanam. That means the foundation of the strength lies in the science. So DRDO tested a next generation torpedo release system. What is a torpedo? A torpedo basically goes inside the water, okay, and attacks on any submarine, we can say. All right, so it blasts the submarine. Now it has a DRDO has developed a new system. What is the name of this? That is SMART. SMART. So what is this SMART? One is supersonic, then it is missile assisted. So it is basically supersonic missile assisted. All right, release of torpedo. That means release of torpedo or torpedo release system. So what we can see, three things we can see. It has a missile first of all attached to it, which carries the torpedo. Second thing, it is supersonic missile. Okay, so of course the capability is increased, the distance is increased, and so on is increased. Now we see the current or the present capability is around 650 kilometers. All right. And in the future, we can see that the capability will be increased furthermore. What we see that it can be launched from any ship also and from the coast also. This is the missile that it attached to it. So it falls once after giving the trajectory or the speed it falls. All right, and it has a parachute also. It can control the deployment, that where it falls finally. Then it searches for the submarine in this area and then attacks on it. All right, so this is the present capability and furthermore what we are going to do in future. Okay, next let us see that it has been launched from the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island in Odisha. This was earlier known as the Wheeler's Island, named on the U Wheeler. Alright, so now it is known as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island and it has been launched. This torpedo has been launched from there. Almost any major deployment we have is launched from here only. So please remember this important point that this system is of torpedo plus the missile system. this torpedo plus the missile system. So it can be launched from both coast, COAST coast, as well as any warship. Alright, so coast launch we have seen, warship launch we are yet to see. So we'll be seeing this furthermore. And this canister-based missile system comprises several advanced subsystems, including two-stage solid propulsion and precision initial navigation. So what we are seeing here, the type of fuel used is solid propulsion. The engine is using solid propulsion fuel. Alright. Okay, next let us see very important geographical location, that is Nikitin Seamount. This is Nikitin Seamount and it is located way distant from India and also in the same direction as Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is also trying to claim it. Alright, Sri Lanka has good ties with China. Okay, because of its economic dependence. Economics dependence. You can also know, read about the Hambantota port. Alright, so China is loved by Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka loves China. And China is also eyeing on this Nikitin Seamount. Alright, so we have, let's say, given a claim. So let us see about this, where we have given the claim and so on. So earlier this month, India applied to International Seabed Authority, that is ISBA. And where is this ISBA located? It is located in Jamaica. So again in the Caribbean Sea. So for rights to explore two vast tracts in the Indian Ocean seabed that are not part of its jurisdiction. Alright, the application to explore one of these regions is a cobalt-rich crust along known as the FSNI Nikitin Seamount at AN Seamount. Alright, let's just see this. So it is cobalt-rich basically. What is the name of this? FNSE Nikitin Seamount or AN Seamount. So what is the word seamount meaning to us? That it is a mountain in the sea. Mountain inside the sea. So it could be a part of the landform. Alright, let us see. So it's a gambit by India. Why it is being called a gambit? Gambit means basically a risk-taking measure. Okay, so rights to reason have already been claimed by Sri Lanka under a separate set of laws, but India's application is motivated by China's, let's say, reconnaissance in the same region. Alright, so let's see about this. What is a seamount? So it's an underwater mountain formed through volcanic activity. And like volcanoes on land, seamount can be active also. Okay. These are formed near mid-ocean ridges. Mid-ocean ridges means where two ocean ridges meet each other. Okay, where the Earth's tectonic plate are moving apart, allowing molten rock to rise from the seafloor. So this is a sort of seamount. We see here a seamount. So what is the importance of seamount? So they provide various metals and so on, and they provide information about the metals composition and how tectonic plates evolve. And these are good places for life because they can cause localized ocean upwelling by blocking currents. Okay, upwelling is the process by which nutrient-rich water from deep within the ocean moves up to the surface. And these are recognized as hotspot for the marine lives. So multiple, let's say it is coming from down the earth. So multiple metals and important things are also found here. One more thing, let us see. So this seamount is Pacific AN seamount. It is 400-kilometer long and 150-kilometer wide in the central Indian basin. And it is located around 3,000 kilometers away from India, even farther than the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are. All right. So it's an ocean. It's on an oceanic depth of about 4,800 kilometer. It rises to about 1,200 meter, and surveys from about 2 decades established risk in deposit of cobalt, nickel, manganese, and copper. So what metals are found here? Cobalt. Cobalt question came in 2023. All right, from the DRC. Then we see the nickel, manganese, and copper. So let's say a country wants to do any exploration in this region, okay? So what it will have to do, it has to do first, first it wants to go to ISBA. Sorry, just a second. Okay, so it's want to go to ISBA. Now, why does it need to go to ISBA? Because what we see that this is the geographical zoning. Let's say it is the border of India, okay? So this is the coastal country. Let's say 12 sea miles. Okay, it has full right to territorial sovereignty, fishing right, right to mineral resources, everything. Okay, next we see the EEZ, exclusive economic zone. So exclusive fishery right and right to mineral resources, but not military presence or so on. Okay, next we come to the high seas. Okay, UN Treaty of High Seas, extended continental shelf and so on. So coastal city has exclusive right to mineral resources only, but not fishing or anything. after establishing the outer border of the continental shelf. Okay, let's say it does not have the continental shelf here, it ends here. Okay, then it will not have any right. But if the continental shelf is connecting to this area also furthermore, then it will have some mineral resources right. So this is EEZ. Next come high seas. So regardless that the continental shelf is connected or not connected from inside the sea, all countries may fish here and go to sea as per the UNCLOS. Okay, next we see the completely free area. Okay, high seas or the area, then it is deep sea and plains, and no treaty or anything is being applied here. UNCLOS is by default applied here. All right. So what you need to do if let's say you want to explore in this area, then you have to go to ISBA. Okay, in Jamaica, and say that our continental shelf is connected till here and we want to explore in this region. Now what can happen, Sri Lanka can also go. It can also say that my continental shelf are also is also aligned to this area and I want to do exploration here. So till now no countries has actually extracted anything from these areas. Okay, because they are very let's say it's very expensive. Okay, the challenges is very much. Challenges are a lot. Now what we see, another UNCLOS body, that is the Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf. Okay, this continental shelf. So if India is unable to prove that it has connections till the Nicotian seamount via the continental means, then it may actually impede India's exploration ambitions. Okay, so let's talk about the exclusive rights. So already we have talked about the exclusive rights. So countries have exclusive rights up to 200 nautical miles and underlying seabed from their borders. 200 nautical miles, please remember. Okay, some ocean-bound states may have a natural stretch of land connecting their border and the edge of the deep ocean that extends beyond its 200 nautical miles. Okay, so as part of their so-called continental shelf. So basically what we are seeing that from the inside these countries are or this seabed is connected. Okay, not coming down to the ocean shelf. All right, so they can have some, let's say, claim of exploration here, and that depends upon the ISBA. So this all we'll get to know. For now, let's just see that what minerals and all are found. So here we see the India, and this is the Nicotian seamount that we are trying to claim, the government of India. There's also Carlson Ridge that we are trying to claim, but multiple countries have claim here. Let's say Germany, government of India, Korea, China. They are all trying to claim this. All right, and there are multiple different zones such as Clarion, Clipperton zone. Okay, this is here located here in the Pacific. You can see. Okay, so Northwest Pacific, and the most of the minerals are found here, polymetallic nodules. So they are most abundant. Then they are cobalt-rich, ferromagnetic crust, polymetallic sulfide, and so on. All right, so India is trying to claim some of the minerals. One more thing that India has tried to claim is this Carlsberg Ridge. Okay, so here also it has found some polymetallic sulfides. Polymetallic sulfide. That means the sulfide ores with multiple metals. So it can be anything. It can be aluminum, it can be cobalt, it can be nickel, manganese, all right, whatever is found with sulfide. So which are large smoking mounts near hydrothermal vent. All right, and they are reportedly rich in zinc, gold, silver, and so on. This Carlson Ridge. So it's also a tectonic ridge. All right, here we can see the Shiva crater and all. You can read this all in the geography. Okay, let's come to the Odisha's Gopalpur port now. So recently in 2023 again a question came. The first question inside it was with the ports only. Okay, and it talked about the Mundra port. So Mundra port we can see here it's a private port under the Adani. These are all Adani ports. So recent it has incorporated the Gopalpur port in the Odisha. So India's largest private sector port operator Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited has announced the acquisition of the Gopalpur port in Odisha from the SP Group and OSL. Don't need to need to know that SP Group is Shahpurji Peloji Group or some private group. Okay, the enterprise value is 3,000 crore rupees. One more thing that this let's say post acquisition, it's basically the privatization of ports. Central government of India does not operate these port. Okay, these are non-major port and they are now operated under the private enterprises. And this is the seventh Indian port to have been acquired by the Adani Group through its inorganic routes and so on. We don't need to know all this. Just remember this map. Which ports? Dahej port, Tuna, Mundra, Hazira, Dighi, Mormugao. Mormugao is very important. It's in Karnataka. Goa, sorry. Then we see the Vizhinjam port in the Kerala. Then we see the Karaikal. In Tamil Nadu, the Ennore port. Ennore port, it was in the question also, if you remember, it is in Tamil Nadu. Then the Kattupalli, Krishnapatnam. Gangavaram and Gopalpur, very recent, so must remember. And Haldia port is very important, all right, in the West Bengal. Okay, next, let's talk about the gray zone warfare. So again, a very important term. So recently, India's Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chauhan, he mentioned about the gray zone warfare. So what does this term mean? So what is gray? Basically, there is white, there is black, and then there is gray. All right. So white, we can say that white here is peace, and black is war. And now there is something in between, that is neither can be said peaceful nor can be said at war. Okay, so if two countries or one country is doing something to the other country without actually going at war with it, then it is being in the gray warfare zone. So what activities come under this gray warfare zone? Let's say economic activities, economic sanctions, influencing operations, cyber attack, assassination, all right, disinformation campaigns. Let's say we can see, such as the Russia did in US recently. Okay, during the Trump election and so on. One more thing we can see is that something that is China doing to all other countries, such as it is doing to Taiwan, it is doing to Philippines. Okay, it is flying fighter jets over the Taiwan Strait. Okay, second thing it is doing to Philippines, it is sending marine vessels there. Okay, so it's going here and there and doing some trouble, making some trouble in the South China Sea. So that all is the this gray zone warfare. And now just let us also see the history of this warfare. So it was in the Cold War era. So after Cold War era, what happened? Nuclearization happened. So all the countries, specifically big countries, especially the USA and Russia, so they were armed with the nuclear tools. Okay, so they could not go with direct war on each other. So what they did, psychological warfare. They made space programs. They did the economic sanctions and all right, they did, even in the sport of chess, they tried to trouble each other. Okay, in multiple sports they tried to trouble each other. This was also the time when Russia started, let's say, injecting its athletes even in the Olympic games with steroids just to dominate the USA. All right, so this was sort of gray zone warfare, and now it has taken a different shape. Now it has taken a different shape of the cyber warfare, of the, let's say, election disinformation, and so on and so on. Okay, so they are actually not going to war with each other, but it has been done. Okay, so a small truffles that is created by various different countries in order to trouble a smaller country, while not actually directly going to war with it, but staying somewhere in the between. So what you need to figure out for this is that what let's say how AI can be used in the gray zone warfare, okay, in good and bad. And what are this? The current scenario of the gray zone warfare, what techniques are being used by different various countries. Okay, so this was the news for this week. All right, we'll be coming and I'll be seeing you in the next lecture. Thank you very much for your presence. I'll see you in the next lecture. Have a great day.